Nantucket, Channel 18, let me know and then I can start the meeting.
She said going live right now.
Great.
Chair, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm on a phone because my iPad went dark somehow today and I don't know what to say. I have no way to fix it that fast.
Don't move because you're coming in clearly
I
and
can't believe it.
yeah. Actually, you've never looked so large, Nat.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God. I can't believe this happened. I have no idea what's going on, but something happened. Great. Okay.
Well, Meg, it is, I think, time. It's 4:04, so I think we can start the meeting. All right. We are conducting this meeting via Zoom, webinar, and remote participation pursuant Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 orders regarding open meeting law. With that, I'd like to see call this meeting to order. Is there a motion for the approval of the agenda? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, first roll call to call the meeting to order. So I will start with Dave Iverson.
Aye.
Nat Lowell.
Here.
Fritz McClure.
Here.
And chair votes aye. Also, we have members, alternate planning board members. Identify those and ask that they address aye or here. Cam Sutton.
Here.
Stephen Welch.
Here.
Here.
And David Callahan.
Here.
And then for staff, I believe we have Meg Trudell,
Here.
Catherine Ansero,
Here.
and I'm not seeing Leslie yet. So when she comes, we'll welcome her. I guess now I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Nat, seconded by Dave Iverson. Roll call. Nat,
Aye.
Dave Iverson,
Aye.
Chris McClure,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Before we move on, I would like to announce at this time the heartbreaking news of the passing of our planning board chairperson, Judith Wegner, on December 3rd. And send our sincere condolences to Warren, her husband of nearly 50 years. I will personally miss Judith in the meetings we had where we did not always agree with one another, but we always maintained a mutual respect and admiration for one another. I will forever be grateful for her leadership and guidance Judith has given over the years. She will be missed. And I'd like to I'd like for all you to join me in a moment of silence as we pay tribute to Judith. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Getting back to the meeting, our first order of business. I will be assuming the chairperson position until our annual town meeting, where we elect officers or another board member. So we are going to be looking to elect a vice chair. That is open for discussion, and anybody that'd like to comment, please go forward.
So you're the chair for the automatically, which is the process. That's great. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Dave Iverson as the chair for the remainder of this year.
Vice Chair.
I mean, vice chair, excuse me. Sorry.
Wow, that was a short run. Okay.
Sorry, God. Oh, my
I'll
God.
second that motion.
There has been a motion made by Nat for Dave Iverson to take the vice chair position, and it was seconded by Fritz McClure. I'll go in I'll have a roll call. Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, unanimous. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Now moving on, we have minutes to approve. I believe the October 25th, 2021, and minutes for November 15th, 2021 are complete. Does anyone have any comments? Meg, we are ready with those two. They are complete. Okay. Is there a motion to approve those two?
So moved.
Fritz.
Fritz?
I'll second it.
Fritz made the motion to approve. Nat seconded. Roll call. Fritz?
Aye.
Nat?
Aye.
Dave Iverson?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay. Next, we have second dwellings, apartments, and tertiary dwellings. First, is there anyone that has any kind of discrepancy or needs to remove or recuse or isolate those for a separate vote? I'd like to take all of those in one vote if I could. No? Okay, so I will read them out in order and we can vote on those all at once. Second dwellings, Lloyd Realty LLC, Donald and Mary Russell, John Barry, 22 Easton Street LLC, Gerald and Elizabeth Minahan Trust, Patrick Cassidy Garage Apartments. We have Gardner Perry LLC. And tertiary, we have Donald and Mary Russell. Is there a motion?
I would move approval of all of the foregoing.
Okay, the motion has been made by Fritz, a second.
Second.
Nat, second. Roll call. Fritz,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
Dave Iverson,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Moving on to A&Rs. We will be pulling, or actually looking at Juanita Vernal Gill and Junior A. Gill for Whole Lane at the public hearing. So we'll pull that for now temporarily, and we'll look to the others. Does anybody have any
Mr. Chair?
comment or reason? Yes, Meg.
So just to let the board know, 8 Chatham Road has been withdrawn at this time, so that will be excluded from the vote.
Okay. 8 Chatham. Okay, that is right. Very good. Well, do we have to just remove that vote on that or just pass over that?
I think you can just adjust the motion to approve all on the agenda with the exception of 8 Chatham and 4 Hull.
Was it,
Great.
John?
Yes, Dave.
Just curiosity, was that withdrawn or just continued?
Withdrawn, but I'll let Leslie
Okay.
Put her hand up.
So we have some paperwork to sort out left over from town meeting from the vote to rezone that. And it's not ready for tonight, so they have to withdraw it because otherwise they would get a constructive approval because of the deadlines.
We have
So
to
it'll be back in
withdraw-
a few months.
We have to withdraw that without prejudice as a separate vote for that.
Sure, that would be good.
Okay, so why don't we take that as a motion first to get that off the plate?
I'll
Is
make
there
a
motion.
I'll make a motion to withdraw without prejudice on, what's that, 8 Chatham.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Fritz, second. Roll call, Dave,
Aye.
Fritz,
Hi.
Nat,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the A&Rs of, well, I can go, let me just go in order. Robert L. England and John Walsh England, Michelle Cole, 16 Friendship Lane LLC, 38 Prospect LLC, Carmen and Sheila Giardini, 38 Prospect LLC, Walter J. Golacki, 3 Beaver Street LLC, Jason Scott Davidson. And we'll leave the remaining one for the public hearing. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Dave made a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Nat, second. Roll call. Dave?
Aye.
Nat?
Aye.
Fritz?
Hi.
And the chair votes aye. And I guess we'll just make notice that 4 Hull Lane Gills will hear at public hearing and then vote accordingly. Moving on, previous plans. We're looking at PL SUB 2021-02-00133 Mueller nominee trust subdivision. This is for endorsing of the plans. I believe I have Art Gasparo or Rick Bodette as representing. Is anyone here to speak on that?
I think I can bring anyone over if you have questions, but otherwise I think it's just a standard plan endorsement.
Okay, I just, Meg, maybe I can ask a question. I read through everything and I didn't see anything that we had not already voted on and agreed to, and for the terms, especially I see that there was no, when you pull out, I guess, a number 11, left-hand turns, that was written up inside the decision there. I did have a question as far as coming in from the bottom of North Mill heading up to it. When you approach Birdsong Lane, obviously when you leave Birdsong Lane, you don't want to make a left, and that's written up in the report to go downhill. But when you're coming up from South Mill Lane, we don't have any kind of language stating that you have to make a left. There should be almost a do not enter from that point on. It's a two-way from the bottom going up, but it's pretty much the same. When you're leaving Birdsong, you don't want to make a left. Well, that same is true when you're coming up from North Mill. You don't want to continue straight past Birdsong, because in essence, that's the same thing. You're going to be on that tight hill, entering up on the hill going into Quaker there, or Prospect rather. So I don't know if we can add that or have staff add that. It pretty much is the same thing as no left turn, but I just wanted to point that out for the record. Dave Callahan, your hand's up.
Why can't they go right?
Well, they can. When you're leaving Birdsong, you make a right.
Well, if you left Birdsong and took a left,
Yes.
why, when you get to Prospect, why can't you make a
Well,
right?
Because-
during our discussions, we thought that it was very dangerous to
Yeah.
go up that hill and then coming to the slope and pulling out with blind spots. So it wouldn't matter if you made a left or a right up there. The whole point was leaving the development of Birdsong Lane.
Yeah.
We couldn't make a left, or we asked that it'd be written up, not take a left. And it was agreed to, the subdivision, the Muellers, everybody agreed, the attorneys.
Yeah. That's been discussed for a while.
Yeah, so we're not debating that. We're just adding to it. If we're going to have that, I think it would be also prudent to add in when you're coming up past Birdsong, it would defeat the purpose to allow someone coming up from the street to continue up there. Does that all make sense?
I hear you, and I probably have been discussing this longer than anyone else. This whole, what are we doing with North Mill? It came to right-of-way committee way before this project. I think what you're saying is, Mr. Chairman, is just to have, like, instead of it being no left, there has to be signage and sort of a, almost, I don't even think they should be using it at all for vehicle coming in at all, myself. But that may materialize over time. But I think there needs to be a do not enter sort of situation, is what you're saying.
Right.
Because no left is confusing, especially if there's people that aren't familiar and sort of wander up there like in a car, just driving and lost, or Uber or something. You know what I mean? You can't have vehicles going out onto Prospect Street from that place, that road.
Question for Leslie. Is this something that staff can work out? Or is this something that we need to ask for the approval of and have discussion about?
I'm not totally sure how to process what you've just asked on the fly. So maybe we could continue this to the next meeting.
Okay, it really is a minor one, and it would be self-explanatory. Can we pull this up on the map? Because as I was looking, we do have some good maps showing the development, and maybe if we showed the map, I can clearly identify by using the lanes.
John, is what you're saying is you really want it to be one way from Birdsong to
Prospect, correct. Yes, just one way down, and that's a good summary. Because when we're pulling out of Birdsong, if you'll look, we said, do not make a left on North Mill Street, correct, follow that arrow. You can come down North Mill, but when you're pulling out of Birdsong, do not make a left. So Fritz, I think what you're saying is actually easier to comprehend. Just from Birdsong up to Prospect, you do not enter. You can come down, but not go up.
So
Yep.
the agenda item for tonight is just to endorse the plans. So I think if you're going to start talking about, streets being one way and other things, that's sort of outside of the scope. So I would just request that you continue it so we can think it through a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to make it more complicated than it was, because we've already actually, approved it with the no left turn. In essence, that is a one way.
Yeah.
So all
Yeah,
we're doing is clarifying it.
Yeah.
Instead of just having a no left turn, just have a do not enter from the ground coming up, from the bottom coming up. It really is the same thing. It's just, it avoids someone making a wrong turn and coming up that hill and continuing where it's prohibited.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Fritz.
This is, as Nat said, and both of you have said, we've talked about this a lot. I don't think there's any doubt about what the board intends. But I think it's very important that we make sure that it's right, so that there's no confusion later on in the public's mind as to what we mean. And I think there could be an interpretation that's different between no left turn and one way in that one section. So I would like to follow Leslie's suggestion that we wait till we make sure that we've got the owners of subdivision owner or approval or whatever we need.
Fritz is right. I mean, if you read this, it's number 11, Leslie. It's not that it's wrong. It's just that the interpretation could mean it could mean something that it doesn't really mean. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be a little stronger, a little more, explain it better, no entering prospect, something like that has to be said. In that number 11, it just needs a little attention. So I don't have an issue with, I'm not sure if we should approve the plan and then bring this back or just continue it 1 month. I don't want to cause an issue with the applicant, but at the same time, I think we need to make sure we get this right.
Yeah, I agree. I think number 11 just needs to be clarified as you're saying, so there's no confusion about coming up from the bottom of Angola and going up through where you would enter onto Prospect. So I see
Yeah.
Arthur's in the audience, Arthur Gasparo. Is that something that you would agree with, Art?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I could, would it be possible to just move this down in tonight's meeting, and I'll try to get in touch with the applicant's attorney? I just can't commit to that, change myself. And then maybe this could get handled tonight. And I know that Ms. Snell also had her hand up, so I don't know. But if I do know that they were hoping to get the plans endorsed. I just can't unilaterally say that's fine. I completely understand where the board's coming from on that from a traffic safety perspective.
Yep.
Dave Iverson, your hands up.
Yeah, I mean, if we could just replace 11 with no access to Prospect from North Mill Street, I think that would resolve it. And then the signage could come
There you go.
by there. Yeah.
So I think if what we can do is we know the intent here and what we're looking to do.
Vehicular access.
Yeah, if it would help, we can put this until the end of the meeting to revisit this, if we can get the language and the approval from your client, and then we can vote on it. And at that time, if you don't have permission or authorization from your client, then we can continue it till next month.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Leslie.
the decision, this condition 11 that you all are talking about, that decision's already been voted. It's already recorded at the Registry of Deeds. I mean, that's not what's on your agenda for tonight. I mean, I think if, Mr. Gasparo's client is willing to add some kind of notation to the plan or something, that would be fine, but this decision's already finalized. It was just put in your packet for reference.
Okay. Well, with that, Fritz?
Just a question. I don't know what status this is. Is this a way, a road, a street? And I guess I know what we want to do. I'm just raising the question. Do we have the power to make it one way in that section?
Well,
Do we have to have somebody else? do that?
It's registered land and they own that road. So they own
Okay.
both sides of the road. So we probably do through the approval in this particular section.
Okay.
So what I'm gathering from Leslie is it would be the willingness of the owner to add the change that we're talking for clarity, but it is recorded as we had voted on it. So I would accept the motion right now to endorse the plan as
Yep.
submitted.
Yeah. Damn. All right. I think in my conversations with the owner back way before this, I know Andrew had some, and I'm sure that others have. They definitely were amenable to this whole issue of driving out onto Prospect. So, I mean, I think that between the engineer and the people on this project are all understand this, how important it is. So I think that I'm sure that this will get taken care of as the process continues. And if we have to approve this as it is, because we've already approved the the actual language. I'm willing to accept that as a goodwill situation because they all know it. It's not like we're dealing with somebody, you know, that we don't know and can communicate with. So
Well, the language still prohibits a left-hand turn coming out of
it
Birdsong.
does.
That doesn't change. All it would do would really clarify it from the bottom. So
Yeah.
let's cross our fingers and hope the willingness from the owner comes to. Nat, did I hear
Make a
you?
motion to endorse this final subdivision plans.
Second,
Dave Iverson, second. Roll call, Matt.
Aye.
Dave Iverson,
aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. All right, previous plans, PL SUB 2020-06-00070 and PL SP 2020-06-0052, Fairgrounds LLC 31 Fairgrounds. This is for a final subdivision plan. Any comment, any concern?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Fritz.
I just, this is maybe technical, but I think before the meeting, they sent around a letter from the land bank regarding the conservation easement. Is that correct?
Yes. Mhm.
And when I read the letter, it says that their final approval is subject to the commission's careful review of the conservation document and associated final plans, which they have yet to receive.
Mhm.
So, and I think our endorsement is subject to there being a conservation easement.
Mhm.
Am I incorrect?
That's what I read in the letter addressed with today's date as well, from Jesse Bell, Executive Director of the Land Bank. They looked like they had a willingness, but they needed the final approval. So if I'm listening to you, Fritz, it almost sounds like we're tied into the approval based on the conservation restriction and someone taking possession of that, which is hopefully going to be the land bank at a future time. So are you looking to continue this to the next month until we get?
I see you've got a hand up there, so why don't we let Megan say something before I.
Yeah, let me
Go ahead,
pitch in on this point.
Yes.
We have a chicken and egg situation.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have a chicken and egg situation here. Obviously, the plan can't be, the conservation restriction can't be finalized until the plan is in place. And after that point, the conservation restriction will have a number of processes to go through. As you know, it has to be approved by the state and by the Board of Selectmen. And there's a matter of going back and forth on all of that on any conservation restriction. So the point is that under the bylaw, we have to provide for the open space to be either held by under a conservation restriction or dealt with in some other way of the various methods that are listed under the flex development section of the bylaw. So if by any chance we aren't ultimately able to get the thing worked out with the land bank, we haven't got a subdivision that we can proceed with and get building permits and build without, from that point on, without having the conservation restriction or other method of dealing with the open space put in place. So we can't do anything until we have a finalized and endorsed plan that can be put through the process of the conservation restriction approval with the state, which is the first step.
Okay, Meg, your hand's up.
Just to echo on Arthur's comments, the language in the decision states that an entity must provide notice of intent, not that the restriction needs to be finalized or that there needs to be a firm commitment. And it's staff's opinion that that letter does provide sufficient notice of intent for holding the restriction.
Okay. Dave Iverson.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all need to, remember why we did this. I think it was because of Hawthorne Park and just how that restriction floated out there. And I had the same concerns when I read it, but I do think it showed intent. And as Arthur says, I mean, chicken and the egg. So can't have a conservation restriction until this is approved. So at least we are on a better track than we were with Hawthorne Park. And I think we should move forward.
Okay, with that, I don't see any other hands. Board, what's your pleasure on this?
I'll make a motion to endorse.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made by Dave Iverson and seconded by Fritz McClure. Roll call, Dave.
Aye.
Fritz.
Aye.
Nat.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arthur.
Thank you, Arthur.
Moving on, Lori Geddes, 13 Evergreen Way. This is for the final subdivision endorsement. No hands. Is there a motion to endorse?
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Nat, seconded by Dave. Roll call, Nat,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Next, Navigator Way subdivision, 1826 Sparks Ave. This is for endorsing of the plans. Any discussion? I don't see any hands. Hearing none or seeing none, is there a motion?
I was, motion to endorse the plans as submitted.
Okay, Fritz made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Nat, second. Roll call, Fritz,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Moving on. This is for discussion of future MCD modification for Bonita Bar LLC, 1, 2, and 4 Chins Way. Let's see, I think Paul Santos is here representing.
Yes, thank you. I believe also Patrick Ridge is available too. Obviously, Patrick is the owner and operator of Island Kitchen, which is the property owned by Bonita Bar LLC. And we'd just like to take a few minutes, if we could, to discuss some revisions we plan on making to the site. We had originally filed this as a minor modification. Through discussions with staff, they felt it was better served to submit this as an amended application, an amendment to the special permit. That has been done and will be before you next month for an actual public hearing on this application. But I just like to briefly, while we had originally submitted it under the minor mod provision, I'd just like to maybe run briefly through the project with you, seek any of the board's input, and then maybe when we get to our meeting next month, have addressed any concerns that the board might have had in advance of that January meeting. I'm sure you're all familiar with the site. This property is made up of 3 separate properties. It's 1, 2, and 4 Chins Way, which is basically the Island MCD development, and you see it on the screen in front of you. I've also included the parcel that extends out to Orange Street, just for kind of a reference to show you the entire area. The area does have pedestrian access points. There are pedestrian access points that connect the Chicken Box property, this property, and then also the property located at Orange Street, which is in a butter to this. So the proposal will be, we are going to ask for the addition of an additional 400 square feet of finished interior space, 300 square feet of storage space, and that area is shown as the grayscale that Megan is now pointing to at the southerly portion of the existing facility. We would also be eliminating a retail space that we had that was located in not the Island Kitchen building itself, but the separate building. We're going to be eliminating that retail stores and service. That was approximately 600 square feet of a retail space, and that'll just be incorporated into the daily operation of the restaurant complex. We are also asking to make permanent the outdoor seating component that was utilized during the COVID-19 orders. Again, that's at the front of the existing facility between the porch and Chin's Way. Would like to continue to use that as a permanent outdoor seating area with a limitation on the number of seats within that area. So it's basically a building addition, the permanent location of the outdoor seating, and the elimination of the existing retail space. Now, when we look at this with regard to parking, we're not essentially adding the requirement for any additional parking. We would, however, and in fact, eliminating the retail space eliminates 3 spaces required for that particular use as part of our MCD parking space computation. We would be losing spaces with the outdoor seating, and we would be losing spaces with regard to the addition of the building to the west of the existing building. What we would be seeking to do is reallocate those spaces in the general vicinity of this site, so as we would not be changing the parking count or waivers that we currently have in space for the parking itself. Basically, the applicant respectfully submits, and I'm going to read from the body of the original minor mod request. The applicant respectfully submits no change in the seating counts or occupancy will occur. The modification will allow the restaurant to be seated or set in 2 different ways. The total number of spaces based on the prior approvals while relocated will not be altered. So that's the general proposal. Again, it's a building addition, the permanent outdoor seating, elimination of the prior retail space located in what was the former bamboo building. And we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Again, this is an existing MCD that brought all these 3 properties into one consolidated MCD, and that was done back in 2017 is when the last update of this site what happened. Again, Patrick is here to answer any questions. I hope he's available. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have. Again, we'll see you back in January for a full public hearing in which notice will be given to abutters. And we're happy to obviously make a more detailed presentation at that time.
Thank you, Paul. Leslie, if you can, if you will, I just have a question. Being that this will be a special permit, right now with 4 sitting members, should I appoint an alternate for the special permit now, or shall we wait until the January meeting for that?
Yep, wait until the January meeting or until you're ready to vote.
Okay. All right. I see Fritz McClure hand up.
Yes, just a question based upon what you said, Paul, and I just want to make sure I understand. So and it relates to the parking. So you said that eliminating the retail reduces the spaces required by 3. And then you said you're going to move something around, and then you said you'll provide additional spaces. I presume that means to come up to whatever the requirement is in the general vicinity. What do you mean by in the general vicinity?
Well, first of all, correct. So we are, by this proposal, the building itself eliminates 4 spaces. The shaded area, there are 4 spaces in that area.
Yeah.
And the outdoor seating also eliminates 4 spaces. Now, by eliminating the retail store component, we do not need, there are 3 spaces removed off our count.
Understood.
So what is that? Does that leave me 5? Am I right?
Yeah.
Matt?
5.
Okay, so I have 5 spaces to account for, whether it be within Chin's Way is kind of a unique area. In fact, you know, what a lot of you think is the parking lot out there is actually part of maybe part of Chin's Way. So we will probably allocate spaces within the Chin's Way location. We also have the ability, we're looking at reworking the parking lot itself, the general location and flow. Now that the site's been open, we kind of know now how this area kind of gets parked, and we reallocate within that existing footprint. We do also, and I'm going by, for some reason, I'm losing what the abutting property is on Orange Street. Is that 46? Yeah, let me just bring up my.
Forty 149.
147,
Yeah.
149.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's 147, correct? Yeah. So Patrick also controls that property now, and you'll see, you know, that property is utilized, and that's where the pedestrian access is.
Yeah.
So we may have the ability to, you know, account for some of the parking within that particular area. Fritz, the parking itself in general within this area, because we're in the MyPod, you know, we get credit for public parking spaces that are in the particular area. We also get parking credits for the interconnection of the pedestrian access. So when you go to the original, that's how we're parked now. Is there were parking spaces, public parking spaces in the area of the chicken box. The fact that we have public access allows us to have credit for some parking also. So the intent is to not ask for any additional parking waiver. What we have now approved, minus the 3 spaces for the retail, the plan that we come before you will have those spaces designated at some location.
Well, does that affect any of the handicap parking that's designated now that we're looking to expand the parking maybe into the Orange Street parking area? I know that's not very handicap accessible.
Well, no, the handicap space will still, the handicap spaces that are there will still exist within the paved area at the end of Chin's Way. I mean, you couldn't get handicapped access because there's a set of granite steps that gets me from Orange Street into the site. So the handicap space that there would not be altered.
Paul, just again, I don't, you know, I don't want to object really. It's just Patrick has a very successful operation there, and the parking gets used a lot. So it's a practical issue of just not wanting to see a lot of available parking disappear. So to the extent you say you won't be asking for any more waivers, I think I'm satisfied for the moment.
And with that, and with the potential addition to the outdoor seating, all things that were approved prior will remain in force as far as hours of operation, you know, things like that. You're not looking to change any of that, even for the exterior.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not looking to make any changes to the permit other than, and it's actually, you know, just the way the operation works. I mean, the outdoor seating, you know, utilizes spaces that might have been used on the inside. So it's like, we're not even, the outdoor seating isn't adding seating. This is all staying within the confines of what's permitted on the site as far as seating goes. It's just, it gives Patrick the ability to, you know, seat in different locations depending upon what time of year he's operating.
Yep.
Cam, I see your hands up.
Thank you, John. So I just am a little confused because there's so much going on this plan, but when you say eliminate existing retail space that will be utilized by the restaurant, I think I'm a little confused about what's happening there. Is the restaurant expanding into this space? Is it being taken down?
No, that occurs in the area where the takeout exists right now, Campbell. That's basically at the ice cream shop. It's
Okay.
basically where the ice cream takeout component is.
And that will
that was-
continue there?
Holly Finn had leased that space
Happy Place, I believe, was there, Cam.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's so confusing with all the different lines. I can't tell where the two-story building starts and stops, but
Oh, it's a confusing little area too. So we did the best we can on the plan, but that's what that area is. So, and again, as far as parking goes, the takeout service, the takeout service requires 5 specific stations just for the takeout service, but that's in the area. Basically, that's basically a seating area in the vicinity of the takeout component, which is already parked, already accounted for in the parking space. The retail store itself was a standalone from the restaurant, and that required 1 space per 200 square feet or 3 spaces. It was approximately a 600 square foot store.
okay, so he's essentially going to be expanding the restaurant side of the business in the takeout area
It's,
for where the retail was. Is that?
Well, they're using it for the day-to-day operations of the restaurant.
Okay.
Yes.
That's, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
happening. So thank you.
So there'll basically be one entity, where we had 2 previously. It'll be basically the Island Kitchen complex will occupy the entire structures.
Correct. Thank you for explaining that.
Nat, did you say something?
Yeah. Yeah, let me just, a little bit. Paul's presentation is pretty spot on, but I'm familiar with this place and I want to just explain to everyone all the confusion about Chin's Way and the whole parking thing and the stuff we went through in 17. You might as well just take with COVID and him purchasing the the former Daily Bread's, what are we calling it now? The pizza bakery, Foggy Bottom now. That little parking lot has been cleaned up and basically really organized well. And you can turn around in there just as if it was designed like that. And the walk-through, he's made it walkable. It's completely changed and it's taken kind of a shape over the last like 3 or 4 years. And COVID is actually, I don't like to say COVID helped something, but that's kind of crazy, but it did in the sense of the way the outside functions. What they're trying to do here is improve the area where they wash dishes and prep, like some of the waiter stuff, and it's very tight back there. They need a little more room for storage and stuff. And this isn't adding people to the building, it's adding efficiency to the operation. It just doesn't work as a minor modification. This is something bigger than that, but it's not adding the typical stuff we see. This is not what this is for. This is mechanical stuff more than it is anything else. So just to kind of clarify that a little bit, but the functionality of this place has sort of kind of migrated and gotten better over time since the last time we met for anything. So I just want you all to know that it does work very well now. And the area is changing. Now we don't have the pharmacy, we have a store, although that's pretty much probably going to be the same. And this area is going to continue to change with Lucky's and things like that. So this is sort of a, it's going to continue. So they're doing a pretty good job here. So I would give this the kind of a positive, thumbs up from my perspective of this for the January meeting.
Right. Again, this is for discussion only.
Right.
It will be before the public, for the public hearing. So if they have comments, they can make that at the January meeting. This is just to give a little insider concerns
Yeah.
to the applicant. Anybody else on the board? Okay, Paul, thank you. Patrick, thank you. I guess we look forward to seeing you in January.
Great. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the time to, come in and get a little bit of a discussion ahead of time. So thank you.
Great. Next one is the draft for the conservation restriction for Ellen's Way. And I don't know if Emily Molden is here. I think she is representing the Land Council.
Yes,
No.
I just brought Emily over as a panelist. Let me bring Sarah over as well. She represents the applicant, just in case you have any questions. Hold on.
And this is just for information only. It is not for a vote.
Yeah, well, informational purposes, and if anyone wants to offer feedback or ask questions, now would be the time to do so. But the select board is actually the local entity that approves this particular document.
Thanks, Meg. Welcome, Emily. How are you?
Hi there, John. Thanks, Mr. Chair. Yeah, thanks for having us on this evening. As you heard, I've been working on the conservation restriction to protect the open space at Ellen's Way. And we have a draft that we provided to staff for some comments and feedback before sending it up to the state for their review. And wanted to get any input that the board might have. There were really just two remaining items that I was interested in some clarification on, which was just whether the language in the draft conservation restriction addresses the special condition in the permit, specifically relevant to the easements that were to be provided. And then also just to make sure that based on the staff's comments, I wanted to make sure they were okay with the language around emergency access. And then to address any other questions that you all had. And I know, as Megan said, I think Sarah Alger might be here as well.
I am.
Welcome, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you. I think from the owner's point of view, our major concern is making sure that the board is happy with the conservation restriction so that when we come in to ask for our final Form J, we don't have any surprises.
Okay. Anybody on the board, staff, comments, concerns? I see Cam, your hand is raised.
Hi, thank you, John. So in reading through it, I just saw two things that are minor, I suppose, and probably don't have anything to do with the ask here. But I noticed in section 3A7, which is under prohibited acts and uses, under 7 with motor vehicles, I didn't see anything about storing boats, motor boats and the like. I'm thinking this has something to do with toxic drainage or waste or whatever that might flow out of cars or other vehicles. So I didn't know if that was something that is a thing or not a thing or is generally covered. And the other one I thought about was in where there are the two options for, I believe it is filing. So I'm trying to find that right now. It's under C. Subordination, and it says we need to delete one of these. So just in reading through them, and you may have already deleted one or chosen one or whatever, but I just felt that the first option was perhaps the safer option, as it really does cover the legality of it, whereas in the second option, it's more just that they're attesting to the fact that there is none of no mortgages, loans, liens, et cetera, et cetera. So that was just sort of my thought on which of those two. So that's all I had. And thank you for putting this together, Emily.
Thanks, Cam. Emily, I see your hand up.
Sure, yeah, just to address those 2 points, thanks, Campbell. As far as the storage of boats, I don't know that boats are specifically listed out there, but because it prohibits the storage of and parking and storage of motorized vehicles, I would presume that would include boats in the open space portion.
Emily,
And
it does include boats. It says using, parking, or storing motorized vehicles, blah, 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 motorboats or other motorized watercraft.
Okay, great. I thought that it might have been spelled out.
Yeah, so it's covered.
And then as far as the second question, that was more of just a clerical miss on my end. Those are 2 options that are provided in the state's template based on the circumstances of the specific property. And in this case, with no mortgages, we would likely choose the second, but that's more of a case-by-case basis determination of which provision to go with.
Great, thank you, Emily.
Dave Iverson.
Thanks, John. I just want to again kind of tie this back to what we're going through with at 31 Fairgrounds. I mean, this decision is 10 years old and we're still struggling. I mean, I just think we as a board need to put some thought into the process and how we can lock in that restriction, I guess, as soon as possible, instead of 10 years down the road when houses are built. Lawns are probably already growing into this restricted area, and if it's more defined and signed earlier in the process, would probably save from these headaches as well. So just a thought. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, well noted. I think in prior plans and things that we've been reviewing, the unwillingness to have any conservation organizations step up was the biggest concern. Right now, we're looking at land council stepping up and signing on to the CR. So this is a good thing. Anyone else? Okay, I think there's good luck with your select board meeting. And with that, there's no vote. So thank you very much for Emily and Sarah for attending.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, next, Norris Family Trust, 9 Bayberry. This is for an escrow release.
That's correct. The applicant is just requesting that the balance of their funds from their AR subdivision be released back. They're going to be coming before you actually next month to convert that into a rear lot subdivision. So at that point, engineering review is no longer required. So planning staff is supportive of releasing any remaining balance back to the applicant at this point.
Any concern, discussion from the board? I do not see any hands up. So is there a motion?
Motion to endorse is submitted.
Or release the escrow?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong one. Yes, release the escrow. Yep.
Okay. Motion's been
Sorry.
made by Nat. Is there a second?
Second.
Fritz, second. Roll call. Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave Iverson. Dave Iverson.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Moving on, we're looking for the endorsement of legal document for Maple Lane subdivision. I don't know if Richard Glidden is here as representing. Meg, any initial comments?
Nope, it was just the standard documents that he submitted to have the board endorse as a part of the subdivision requirements.
Concerns, comments, board? Seeing none, is there a motion to endorse the legal documents?
Make that motion.
Second.
Nat made the motion, Fritz second, roll call, Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave Iverson,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to preliminary plans. This is Jeff Kashulik. Looks like 86A and 88 Old South Road. Jeff has been a previous client of mine in real estate transactions, so I feel I have to recuse myself from this for discussion. With that,
John.
How long ago, John? 10 years ago?
Well, actually, last year, in real estate, I had listed and sold a couple of properties for Mr. Kashulik. Although I have no vested financial interest or anything to do with this property at all, just for full transparency, I have had a financial relationship, obviously selling property. So I think I really probably should recuse myself from this particular preliminary plan for discussion. Dave, as new vice chair, I'd like for you to take over and handle this particular discussion.
Be
Yes,
patient with me.
persistence. You would throw you right into it, Dave.
Right?
And I
Oh,
would hope
my.
that Meg and Leslie, you direct Dave to to kind of move it along. All right.
All right.
And I will just temporarily X out.
Great. Okay. So we have something to, someone presenting this to us?
Yeah, I just brought Jeff over. Daniela, I tried bringing you over too, but you kept declining.
Do it. Can you do it again, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jeff, I'm here.
Hey, Jeff. Great. Thank you. So do you want to walk us through what you're planning, Jeff?
I will. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Great.
Hello, Matt,
Hey, Jeff.
Fritz.
Aye.
So this is a piece of property I've owned for 27 years. It's been pretty much exclusively used as a landscape storage yard for a number of local landscapers on Nantucket, with accesses through both the Egan Lane roadway and the frontage portion that exists on the plan in front of you. And it's, you know, literally the entire time since I've owned the property. My engineer, Hayes Engineering, has put forward an 11 lot, and I'll back up. Today it's zoned RC2. And with the RC2 5,000 square foot requirement, we've created 11 new lots, all well north of the 5,000 and all oversized. The lots, as RC2, I'm envisioning, you know, a mixed use project with great demand for, you know, the commercial space, and obviously the housing as well. The lots would be serviced with town water and town sewer. We have sidewalks on each side of the 20-foot roadway designed within the 40-foot layout. There's two stormwater management areas for, you know, the drainage drainage matters for, for this infrastructure engagement. I think the easiest description is if one were to drive out there today, you can see it clearly from Old South Road, but only up to probably the first bend. And I call this piece of property, or if you mirror them together, it looks like, there you go, thank you. Looks like the two states, Alabama and Mississippi, merged together. Right, you can see pretty much right up to that privet hedge at the top of the narrow portion, and it's pretty much a green, nice green. I wouldn't call it open space, but clean space. And with that setting right there, I'd like the roadways to in effect take on the look of a small commerce park. And we specifically designed the hammerhead at the end of this commerce park for the reason that at the very head of that hammerhead is approximately 50-foot deep run of land that doesn't have a home right this moment, and it's 40 feet wide. And I've been in and out of conversations over the last couple of years with all the people to the immediate west and north of the subject property here, better yet known as the Egan Lane Homeowners Association, and who have been working diligently with Andrew and planning staff in terms of trying to figure out how to take their paper road easement style roadway system and turn it into into more of a conventional roadway with normal frontages and et cetera. This, although we haven't spoken in some time, I have left the door open with that at the top of the hammerhead, that 40-foot swath, to potentially allow for another way for them to handle their concerns if everything were to make sense. So in terms of Egan Lane, right now a large percentage of the landscapers that reside as tenants on the subject property, access and leave through an easement that is right and on the westerly side of this picture right here. There's a little tan roadway that extends out just north of the curve on Egan Lane right there. Yeah. And just to put everyone at Egan Lane, regardless of whether there's another access on the back for their benefit, that easement would become restricted. For right now, it's to the benefit of the entire piece of property at 86A and 88 Old South Road, but I'm envisioning a scenario whereby that easement, longer term, would only benefit the two lots that are closest to it, the two newly created lots that are closest to that easement. So that would be lot 4 and lot 5. And as I state that right now, I just want to, there should be no ruckus, and I'm sure the planning board would not allow that anyhow, to be an easement for the benefit of the whole place. So finally, I would like to let staff know and the planning board that they've requested that I be willing to cooperate with future zoning classifications for the subject property, as this is one of the last few remaining RC2 properties of substance on Nantucket. And I know it's been a personal goal of the planner to eliminate it in its entirety. And I'm just, letting all know that I'm willing to, to cooperate and listen as we go through the definitive phase of this project, of this plan. So anyways, be more than willing to answer any questions. And again, this is just a preliminary plan. It's not a, it's early on, but this will give me a, good guidance for moving forward definitively. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff. Board, any questions?
Yep, Mr. Chair. Leslie, are you on for a second? Can you hear me?
I'm here.
So what fits here, CN or C-Tech? It looks like CN a little bit because of its lot sizes, but because CN allows 7,500, right? CN and C-Tech is 10,000.
C-Tech is 10,000. I mean, these would, become pre-existing non-conforming if it went to C-Tech. I think the uses that Jeff has talked about or alluded to are probably more consistent with C-Tech.
Yep.
Which is what's kind of happening on the property now with the landscapers and that sort of thing.
And what provides the best mix for housing? I don't like to use the word housing, houses, living, whatever we want to call it. If people start buying this, I'm looking at this as a sort of a tiny version of the coffin pit with a different outcome, kind of. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing. And getting it right. I like the lot size because there's a lot of space to sort of have a mixed use, kind of like the Marble Way stuff on the left, how it sort of mired itself into from RC back in the day to what we've done now. That's C-Tech, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you got it. You guys talk about this all the time, and I just think that that's the most important piece. And then the access on the interior, as well as on what Jeff was just talking about. I'm slightly confused about that, but that's okay. How this new roadway would be able to be connected to Egan and Old South simultaneously. I mean, that's how I kind of see it, but this is a work in progress. This whole area we've got Pine Tree figured out, but this one's a lot harder. This is going to take some serious cooperation to fix, but I certainly like the way this is set up. We just got to get the zoning right and for a town meeting and how it's going to get, developed. So that's all I have at the moment.
Anybody else? I have just a couple concerns and just some food for thought. I'm pretty sure this is square in the Wellhead Recharge District. So, I just have concerns about preserving some green space, some non-permeable surfaces, so on and so forth. And I guess that will, and I hope you put some thought into that, Jeff, as we move forward into this process. And depending on what you seems to be leaning towards, you may want to think about, creating some space for some on-street parking, even though I know it doesn't seem like a lot of lots, but these kind of uses tend to attract lots of cars. So I just think I don't want us to be in a position again where we approve a small road and don't leave room for on-street parking. And that's all I have to say for now. Anybody else? So what are we looking for here?
So there is a motion to approve the preliminary plan, and staff will draft the letter to submit to the applicant. In that letter, I'll identify those different concerns that were brought up at the meeting.
Can I ask one more question, Mr. Chairman, to Jeff?
Of course. Go ahead.
Look, Jeff, I just want to get a little bit of clarification on what you said about the easement for that access. You're saying that would only service that one lot?
Yeah, the current easement that services the entire property.
Right.
I mean, that, I'm talking about just lots 4 and lot 5, the two that are immediately adjacent it, and it could be just one lot at the end of the day. I don't know. I didn't want to cut myself too thin on that. So it's one of those two lots or both of those two lots that would retain the benefit of that easement that goes to Egan's Lane. But Nat, where you were confused before of tying the two places together, it was at the very top of the hammerhead,
right?
That 40 to 50 foot swath that road could conceptually continue through the Egan property and tie into one of the spur easements that run east to west coming off of the Egan Lane Homeowners Road.
Okay. So that, and this is where this is exactly what I wanted to clarify. So what you're doing is you're setting up a piece of land for the future solution to this pork chop nightmare, right?
Precise.
That's the most important thing right there.
Precise.
So in other words, because having an access for one lot is like crazy in the sense of if this was a fresh piece of land, it didn't have all these problems. So you're providing the solution once that's reached for the later down the road when this will eventually get solved before, hopefully before Andrew retires. This is a little ongoing joke we have about this. He can't leave until this is fixed, this Egan Lane thing. So that's great, Jeff. I appreciate it. Sorry, Leslie, for getting confused on that issue, but now I got it in my mind. Now I understand it. So thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm all set.
So I guess we're looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plan.
Yep. Second.
All right, roll call vote. Start with Nat.
Aye.
Fritz.
Aye.
Who am I missing here?
Nobody. Just
You.
you.
Aye.
Yourself.
That's
Down to
right.
3.
Aye. And I vote aye, so it passes unanimously, or moves on unanimously.
I'm just texting John to bring him back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Take care. Best.
All right.
John ditched out on us.
I just texted him. In the meantime, I'll bring over Juanita and Linda Williams.
Trying to figure out where that place is.
Good.
Lane. I know where that is.
Meg, I'm back.
There we
Hey,
go.
John. I was just bringing over Linda and Juanita, who are our next
Okay.
people up.
Did we withdraw without prejudice the public hearings? Okay,
Nope.
so let's start with that. Next on the agenda is public hearings. First, we have 10 Cliff Road LLC. They have asked for withdrawal without prejudice. I see the action deadline is 12/31/21, so that's not going to matter with this motion to withdraw. Is that correct? Okay, is there a motion?
make that motion, withdraw without prejudice.
Second that.
Motion's been made by Nat and seconded by Fritz. Roll call. Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Next, 27 Fair Street LLC. That is being asked to continue until the January meeting. I believe action deadline is February 13th, so that doesn't affect anything. And our January meeting is on the 10th, January 10th. Is there a motion to continue?
Make that motion.
Dave made the motion.
Second.
Nat seconded. Roll call. Dave,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. 23 Broad Street owner LLC, Brotherhood of Thieves, 23 Broad Street. Action deadline 1/23/22, and there's been a request to continue to the January 10th meeting. Is there a motion?
Make
So
that
moved.
motion.
Second.
Dave made the motion, Nat seconded. Roll call. Dave,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. 6 Beach Street LLC, 8 North Beach Street LLC, and 4 Dolphin Court LLC. The Brandt, 6 and 8 North Beach Street and 4 Dolphin Court. Action deadline March 13, 22. Request to continue to January 10th meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Nat made the motion. Fritz seconded. Roll call. Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, now on to Juanita and Junior Gill, 4 Hull Lane. I see that Linda Williams representing, and I believe she is signed on. This is
I'm
a
here.
special permit, so I believe I have to activate an alternate for this. So I'm going to ask Stephen if he's available.
Sure.
Okay, Stephen, you are activated. Welcome, Linda. And this is, I believe, for a covenant lot?
Yep. It's pretty simple, cut and dry. About a year ago, maybe you guys approved a primary, secondary, tertiary dwelling. They have given up the tertiary dwelling and now we're going to create an affordable lot under the covenant program. The only difference here is that we're also asking for the special permit to reduce the intervening because of where the buildings are located now, to reduce the common setback and to allow 2 separate driveways, which is, they've been in place for a long time. So they're just going to maintain the 2 driveways. So 1 on each lot. So they're not sharing a driveway. So that's pretty much it in the nutshell.
Board members, any comment before I open it up to the public? Hearing none, I'll open this up for a public hearing. Meg, please let me know. I see Cam. I'm sorry, Cam. I see your hand up. Please comment.
Yeah, okay, so I just had one quick question. I noticed sort of along the internal lot line, there's a well. Is that a shared well? Or is there town water here? Is that an old well? I'm just trying to figure out what would be happening with that water when it's divided between the 2 owners.
If there is a well, I don't know anything about the well situation at the moment. That's not before the planning board, except that the building commissioner or whoever is going to require that each lot has its own water supply. That's required under state law. So that will
Okay.
have to be dealt with, or there is public water in the area. I just don't know if that's going to be the case here, but they will deal with the water situation.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else on the board?
I'd actually make a quick comment if I may, Mr. Chair.
Certainly, Stephen, please.
If we could, if we could just flip to the site plan with the parking.
Give me just a second to bring that back up.
Or actually, this one works fine, Meg. I just wanted to comment that this parking layout, which is shown to the right, is actually very effective. I've had occasion to be at this property a couple of times, no personal relations or anything, but it's a really good use of space. So I just thought I'd mention that since I had the benefit of being in there. And I know parking can be kind of a difficult issue for everyone. People who want to park, people who need a place to park, finding it, fitting it, so on and so forth. So that was it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, I actually would agree on the private space there, to have that as opposed to maybe two stack parking where the two cars would be blocked in. That looks like, as long as they can all fit in there, it's a good use of space. So I would agree with your comment.
And it's been
Meg,
working so far, Mr. Chairman, it's been working so far because they do have separate units in there now.
great. Meg, is there anyone from the public that has a hand raised?
I'm not seeing anyone, any of the attendees with their hand raised.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to close to the public hearing.
So moved.
Stephen made the motion, Nat seconded, roll call, Stephen Welch,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
Fritz, Dave Iverson,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. On the application, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve with the staff recommendations, including the
Those are
findings.
fine. Those are fine for us.
Okay, and also, Stephen, the 6 conditions, I believe?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, the motion's been made by Stephen. Is there a second?
Second.
Dave seconded.
That was Dave second. Great.
Yeah.
Roll call. Stephen,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. On to, we're going to continue with this with the A&R that we left off earlier.
Make a motion to endorse the A&R.
Yeah. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
That was Stephen or Fritz?
One of them.
All right, I'm gonna give it to Fritz. So roll call.
Just the 4 vote on the A&R.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Just on A&R, yep.
So Stephen, this was motion made by Nat, seconded by Fritz. Okay, roll call. Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Stephen.
you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. Next, moving on, Andrew Vorse, 40 Essex Road. I do have to activate another member. Cam, if you're available.
Sure, I'm right here.
Great, thank you very much. And representing Stephen Cohen, and I believe this is for a covenant as well. Any background, Stephen, if you're available? Okay, Stephen Cohen, you're on mute. Anything to add, or is this?
No, I think this is a very straightforward secondary lot application. The board is very familiar with them, so I'll save time, but I will note that this one is advantageous in a couple of ways because it is almost double the legally required size. So there's a much larger lot available to the secondary lot than would normally be. It's about 1,800 square feet larger, almost 100% larger. It has twice the legal parking. It has a shed. It has several amenities that are not always associated with the secondary lot that I think are nice.
Great, and so Cam is activated. It's all open up to the board for any discussion. Hearing none, this is a public hearing, so Meg, I'll open it up to the general public. And please let me know. I'll give a couple of seconds here, see if you have any hands raised.
I have one person with their hand raised, David Bold.
Okay, David, welcome. Could you?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Hi, David. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for hearing me. Thanks for your patience. First time I've attended one of these. I live next door at 42 Essex. And really, I guess I kind of have 2 questions if you guys can help me with them. One of them, I notice on this plan that it's 14 years old. Is that typical of applications for a special permit, that be operating on plans that are that old? It's
That's the
dated
original.
2007.
Meg, want to help? I mean, I
No,
don't know if there's a deadline or a expiration date, but yeah.
The plan is an as-built of the buildings that were constructed, excuse me, and the only thing that was added on, which is noted on the plan, is the subdivision line. So there's no reason to do a new survey for that, but the additions are noted as a new plan. I guess the answer is it's extremely common to use a plan like this, and it's stamped by a licensed registered surveyor. So,
And there will be another plan coming forward later, correct?
Right, with the covenant, the separation,
Right.
and the
Not a
endorsement.
subdivision.
Right, well, not a subdivision, not a subdivision. With any kind of title or something, that would probably be an updated plan with that, if this was going to be sold off.
And
yeah,
there's
this is a special permit exhibit plan. It's not a subdivision
Yeah.
plan.
right. And then you have an A&R that gets done later as well, so.
I'm sorry, what is an A&R? What is that?
That's an approval not required.
Okay. Right, so maybe my last other question is, I'm just, and maybe this is more of a process question, but what is the process of the town when a person of the department is having an application processed by the department? Just seems unusual. I mean, it's an unusual case, right? Mr. Vorse is the director of the planning department, and it's the department that's processing this application. Just seems unusual, and I'm wondering what the town has for a policy or procedure for processing applicants of its employees.
Well, I believe he's being represented by an attorney. So he's not representing, he's hired someone to do it. We have to take it as a board, as any other applicant. So we would look at what the request is, see if there's any improprieties. This one in particular, as Mr. Cohen said, is probably over the qualifications with the size of the lot. So if anything, it's probably more generous than other covenant lots would be. So I think, from our position, this is the governing board that would represent any kind of covenant approval.
I think it would be. Go ahead, sorry.
So government employees are covered by conflict of interest law and ethics rules that we are required to follow. And, we have property rights like all citizens of the town, and those applications are all processed in the same manner.
Yeah.
David, yes, your hand is up, David Bolt.
No, that pretty much wraps up my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Dave Iverson, did you just raise a hand?
No, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to just to say to David that this is a very straightforward application. I don't think there's there's no way you can perceive anything foolish here. And not to mention, it's a covenant house being sold for a year-round person at a inexpensive price. Well, relatively inexpensive. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have to keep those things in mind. This isn't something that someone's profiting wildly off of, and it's funny business. This is very straightforward, and I don't think there's much that can be questioned on it. So, but I appreciate your concern. Thanks.
Meg, anybody from the public?
No one from the public, but I do see Campbell with her.
Yes.
As a board member.
So if there's no one from the public before, actually, Cam, maybe your comment will be pertinent to anybody that logs on. So Cam.
Yeah, this was just in response to the fellow who was just speaking, and I can see where the confusion comes in just that there are, you've got lot 25A, lot 25B, lot 7C, lot 7D, so it is, while very straightforward, there is a lot of little pieces to it that I could see would make it a little difficult to follow, if you will. So just in his defense.
And I think Dave kind of explain, I was gonna say something similar to what Dave said, but for the person next door at 42, the covenant, when you do a covenant, it is not adding any density, any ground cover. It is all existing. Whatever was available is still exactly the same as it was before. And that's something that I personally am trying to get that explained as much as I can when there's any questions. So that's all this is separating ownership of this lot to two separate people, and that is it. That is the covenant program. That's it.
Meg, I'll ask you again, any hands raised outside public?
David has his hand up again. Do you want me to bring him back over for a second comment?
Stephen Cohen, yes, please. Yes, Stephen, you're muted.
So
I did not have another comment.
Okay.
And it's the neighbor, sorry, just on the plot plan, it's just a question. Where it says lot 25A, just above the letter A, there's a mark that says it's an LPG filler cap. Is that a propane tank? And if so, it's just a question I saw on the plan. Does that feed the front 25A property or 25B? Just kind of like between the two. So I'm just curious where that, right above where it says lot 25A, the letter A, right above the letter A, there's a little, that little guy. I'm just curious.
LPG,
what that
liquid
is.
propane gas, yes. That,
Right. So my question is,
being that it's on lot 25A, I'm not going to assume, but my best guess estimate would be that it would service that particular house or lot. And it's, and if it weren't, you could have actually it metered so that it could serve two if it was an underground. It potentially could be that it services two lots. Obviously, with the covenant, then you would need some extra language in the decision so that they would have some kind of easement right to that. But right now, I would assume that it's particularly used exclusively for
there's two separate tanks on this property, one for each house.
Okay.
All right. Good. That's it. Thanks for my question. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Meg, one more time, anybody from the public raising hands?
There's not.
Okay, with that, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
Nat made the motion. And Fritz second. Roll call. Nat.
Aye.
Fritz.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. And also Cam, I believe you're on this one? Yes.
Yes, I vote aye as well.
All right, thank you, Cam. All right, on the merits, is there a motion?
I move to approve with the conditions stated in the staff report, finding that the proposal advances the intent of the zoning bylaw by creating housing for year-round residents.
Second. Great. Thank you, Cam. There's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Nat seconded. Roll call. Cam.
Aye.
Nat.
Aye.
Dave.
Aye.
Fritz. Fritz.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Next, Frick and Frack LLC, 134A Main Street. I will be activating another alternate member for special permit. This is for driveway access, a second driveway access. David Callahan, if you're available.
Let me go look at this one.
I am.
Okay, you're activated. Thank you, David. I believe Jamie Griffo is representing the applicant.
Steven, Jamie dropped off. Are you taking this one? Okay, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll take this one. So This is a relatively straightforward second curb cut application. Actually, I should say this is a mildly complicated second curb cut application. The property formerly known as 134 Main Street is comprised of 4 structures, which are 3 dwellings and a garage storage building. Those were in a 4-unit condo that was terminated and cut up into 3 single-family dwelling lots. So it is now that there's a front house, the garage, and 2 rear houses that are independently owned on single-family lots under the 4181L program. Those rear lots have a driveway that goes out to along the, we'll call it the left side or the side of the house that also services 4 lots, 4 houses total, 2 other abutters that have easement rights in that. So that driveway that runs along the building services quite a few lots. So the owner of 134 Main Street would like to have their own driveway on the other side of the property servicing just that house. We have gone to the REAC committee, which recommended approval, and we've gone to the select board, which granted approval for the second curb cut, including the elimination of a public parking space on the condition that 2 parking spaces be created. And there's a notation that that we can't move or damage the town tree that's in front of this property during this process. So what we would like the planning board to do is allow the front house to have its own parking in the new parking area, and then that driveway on the other side would be used by the 4 other houses that use it.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Questions from the board? Dave Iverson?
Steve, did the town tree warden look at the tree?
So we got a question from the town administration about this, and I ran it by the architect and the surveyor, and both of them said that the driveway is designed to avoid having to do anything to the tree.
Okay, I mean, I would and I appreciate that, but I think, I mean, it can't be too difficult for the town tree warden to just drive by and give a nod, would it? I mean,
It wouldn't be, although I think what we are looking for is an approval that doesn't require we're not asking for permission to do anything to the tree. And if the board wanted to make it a condition of its permit that we not do anything to the tree, that's certainly the plan.
Definitely think that's going to happen.
I think that's listed in the condition number 4, that the town tree located on the sidewalks of the northwest corner of the property shall not be negatively impacted by the construction of the driveway access. So they do address it, but
you know, if I could make a suggestion as an additional condition that before the installation, that the contractor have a meeting with the town tree warden or his designee to discuss construction protocols approved by the tree warden, that's more than appropriate.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, I would make that number 5 condition to meet the town tree warden prior to construction to give approval.
Yeah, none of us want these trees damaged.
Great. I know that. No, I'm not saying you do.
I've been accused of worse.
Anybody on the board, other future comments before I open it up to the general public? No, hearing none. Let's open it up.
I have a quick question.
Can, please.
So I have not been able to figure out the depth of this new parking. And is it meant to take 2 full-size cars? I couldn't find a measurement that told me how long, do you see what I mean? How long it was. And my concern is based on the curb cut we allowed on Pleasant Street that comes into Mill Street, I believe it is. And very often when
Pleasant, Campbell. Number 16, I was
when someone, correct, okay. So what I've noticed with that is that the cars barely get off from the sidewalk. So pedestrians have to walk into the street in order to get around. And so my guess my question is this for 2 full-size cars and that is with them parked with adequate space between the cars that a person could walk between them, but that there's no overhang into the sidewalk?
Yes, Campbell, I think that is a good question, certainly a legitimate concern. There's another plan that I think was submitted, and if you don't have it, I can submit it to staff, that shows a measurement of 20 feet from the sidewalk for the first space, 20 foot by 9 space, which is yeah, that's the one, which is a standard space, and then also an additional 17 by 7 space, which is a traditional secondary, or the reduced size space that the board allows for secondary spots. So we should be able to park 2 cars, end to end without having them touch and still not overhang into the street.
Okay, because because what ends up happening when you get your full-size cars, I'm not talking where somebody has like a smart car or something, but where they have the type of cars we have here.
Yeah.
If they get, if they're bumper in the parking, they'll generally, they're going to create some kind of a cushion so someone can get out and walk around without, do you see what I mean, between the front and back of the other cars.
Yeah.
So like I said, I just, and another point, I have down the road here, I have a fellow that's always parking with part of his backside into the bike pedestrian path, but he's got a big hitch on the back of it. And so, all that stuff creates a hazard for pedestrians or the like going by. So I just wanted to make sure that we were going to be creating a positive parking situation.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, and I've reviewed this with Jeff Blackwell, who's very skilled, and he's the one who designed the parking, even though it shows the architect's stamp there. That this should fit 2 real cars with space between the bumpers for people to move. Now, if someone has like a bike rack or something, that's not something these are designed to accommodate. I couldn't speak to that, so I don't want to suggest that there's no scenario in which that could happen, but 2 full-size cars can fit in these spaces with space between them.
Okay, super. Thanks. Thank you for your time, Stephen.
Thank you, Cam.
Okay, any other comments before we open it up? Okay, open it up to general public. Any Meg, if you can assist?
Not seeing anyone with a hand raised.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make that motion.
Second.
Matt made the motion. I think it was Dave that seconded. Roll call, Matt,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
and this David,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Now on the motion. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the applicant's request as proposed with the 4 conditions and emphasis on number 4.
The 5th one, I think we added the 5th.
What did we add?
Or meet the town tree
Oh, yes.
warden prior to the construction for
Yep.
approval.
Yes, that too, the tree warden. Yep.
Okay. And did you say the 2 findings?
The 2 findings
And the 5?
and the 5 conditions and emphasis definitely on the tree situation, 4 and 5.
Okay.
Okay.
With that, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Fritz second. Roll call. Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave Iverson,
Aye.
David Callahan,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Next is Saracam LLC, amendment number 3, 46.5, 46A, Surfside Road. I'm going to activate, I think, in the order, Stephen. Stephen, yes.
Yes.
Okay, you're activated. Thank you.
Thanks.
Eric Johnson is representing. Is Eric?
Hi.
Hi, Eric. Welcome. How are you?
Good. I purchased this property from Chip Webster, who had this property and the adjoining property together. He had a plan together as an MCD to do a restaurant and an office building in the back where I currently am building. And subsequently, he subdivided and sold the two lots separately. I think you guys are well familiar with the plan that's going on next door. Pioneer Cleaning, the Halleck's have done a commercial building, and they have the existing house that was been there for many years. The lot that I purchased had a second dwelling on it at one time. Jim Weeman owned it, and he removed that building and sold the lot to Chip with the foundation on it. I purchased the lot with the existing foundation, and I took Chip's plans and just kind of started building. The original impetus for this was that I was renting an office on Old South Road. I'm sure you're all familiar with that location at 5 Old South, and we've been there many years, and decided that I wanted to, stop paying rent and have my own building. And it was right before COVID started. So when we had the pandemic, two things became more apparent to me. Number one, I didn't need a traditional office like I had for so many years, because we started working from home more and working remotely, and found it to be actually more flexible and convenient in many ways. There are some times when it's not as perfect, but the second thing that became apparent was that I needed housing for key employees, as the housing has gotten even tighter the last couple of years, and it always was difficult, but it's become more acute, as I'm sure you're all aware. And so as I started to develop this building, and I was simply building the existing building permit that Chip had designed, it was an office space on the first floor and a one-bedroom apartment on the second floor. So as I have gone on with the building, it became apparent to me that what I really would like to have is two apartments, and continue to work more flexibly with the office space in other places. And so that's what I'm asking the board to do, to remove me from the conditions of the MCD, which don't really apply because it's not a co-joined property. In fact, the way it's drawn, it doesn't really, I wouldn't be able to do it. And secondly, if I can change the permitted use from a commercial residential building to a 2-unit apartment building, which I believe falls under the same zoning. So that's my request, and I'm free to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Board members.
This is all staff type stuff. I mean, how this works. So Leslie, tell us how this proceeds.
Well, it looks like there's only 2 required parking places and there's 5 available.
So there's not a lot of
the site. It's an oversized lot with the 1 bedroom every 2,500 square feet. They're looking at 5,534 square feet for the zoning.
Yeah, let me speak for the parking, if I could, John. The lot really came with the parking area already defined, and it really was 5 spaces. What I found is, although I probably won't need 5 spaces of parking, in order to not back out onto Surfside Road, that extra space is really useful for turning around so that you're not, backing vehicles out onto the road. So I decided that, where I might not use that parking all the time, just the convenience of being able to turn around, smoothly and efficiently, no matter how skilled the driver, would be better to leave it larger. And that was my thinking on that.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So
This is a public hearing. Seeing no hands for the board, I'll open it up to the public. Meg, if you inform me if anyone's hand is raised from the public.
I'm not seeing anyone with their hand raised.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Nat made the motion, Fritz seconded. Roll call, Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave Iverson,
Aye.
and, David Callahan. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Stephen.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, and on the merits, is there a motion?
I would make a motion to, what are we doing here? Approve the request for special permit for a 2-unit apartment building with the finding that removing the property from the MCD previously granted and granting a special permit for apartment building is within the general purposes and intent of the bylaw.
Thank you, Fritz.
Second.
Nat seconded, roll call, Fritz,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
David Iverson,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
And just,
yes.
Mr. Chair, just procedurally, what you all will
Sure.
get for this, he'll have a new decision for the apartment use that will have to be recorded at the registry. Then we will modify the MCD to remove any reference to his property and anything that applies to that. So there will be 2 decisions that have to be signed and recorded.
Great, thank you, Leslie.
Thank you for that, Leslie.
Next, Scarlett O'Hara LLC, amendment number 2, 43 Nobody Farm Road. I need to activate, and I believe Cam, if you're next, if you're available.
Sure, I'm right here.
Thank you, Cam. Representing Marion Hanley, if she is in attendance. No. Meg?
Yeah, we have Mary Ann and we also have Dan Malloy here.
Oh, welcome. Okay. Any either or, whoever would like to give a brief description. No hands?
Is Mary Ann? Okay.
I had to get into the program here. Thank you very much. My name is Mary Ann Hanley, and I'm representing Scarlett O'Hara LLC, requesting a modification to an existing major commercial development. Dan Malloy is on the phone. He's the engineer. Actually, he's on the panel. I see him, engineer on the project. What my client is proposing to do is to remove an existing garage building that's on the property and construct a 5,400 square foot contractor shop storage/building. And there's also going to be a small bathroom addition added to the building to the rear, to the north of the property, which pretty much the entire building is unplumbed, but we just wanted to get a small bathroom in there if we could. If you recall, well, I don't know if any of you were on the board in 2017 when we were here, but you approved the construction of actually the removal of the dwelling and the garage on this property and the construction of 3 new buildings, pretty much substantially in the same location as we're want to build in now. But our new plan involves leaving the dwelling in place. It's been there, it's used, it should stay there, and have just 1 building. We never actually got to work on the 2017 approval because I don't know if any of you know, but there was a fire on the property, and the building to the rear was in the northwest corner was pretty much demolished, and we had to start from scratch. That was in 2018, and by the time that was finished, COVID hit, so nothing really happened on the last approval. It's fairly straightforward. I know that we got Ed Pesci's report came in today. It wasn't here earlier. And Dan can, if you have questions on that, Dan can go through those questions and answer them for you. But I think other than that, it's basically, it's a new building and it'll pretty much carry on the way that has been over there.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
Board members, any questions before we open it up?
I had a question, I think, John,
Sure
if
can.
you don't mind. I believe this was the property where Pesci Engineering had mentioned something about tight parking in this rear area. So I'm wondering what the parking.
Did you mean the type meaning gravel?
Well, no, it was that their parking in front of this building would be difficult. And I think he had mentioned that we should ask about the plans for parking for the contractor shops or the shops inside that the new building, due to the lack of space between the existing buildings and where the new building is going to go.
Mr. Chair, I can clarify this for Campbell.
Sure, Meg.
If that's all right with you, just because I had a verbal conversation with Mr. Pesci about this. He just noticed that there were 6 drains proposed in that new building. So his concern was if they were rented to 6 separate tenants, would there be adequate parking for any of the proposed uses for those spaces? Should they be controlled in separate entities?
Right. Okay. That sounds like exactly what he said. So do we have a resolution on that?
Do we have a plan you can bring up, Meg? I'm sure the discussion might help if there was a plan to look at. With the six trains. Dan, do you care to comment? I know they're your plans.
Yeah, I can answer that quickly. So the floor drains are shown there really for graphical purposes. They don't necessarily say how many tenants or bays will be in the building. That'll be up to plumbing code. We're showing floor drains because we have to for sewer connection purposes, but in terms of internal floor drains, the plumbing code is going to dictate so many. And that'll be dictated by the number of bay doors. It has nothing to do with tenants or quantity of tenants.
Or parking?
Or parking. Yeah, the floor drains are strictly to do with garage bays. The building itself will be required to have so many floor drains based on a plumbing code requirement. And that's separate of who is in the building, how many tenants are in the building, and parking and everything else.
So Dan, in Ed Pesci's report, also number 3 for the comments, he does say that there are plans showing existing septic system, one of the buildings, to be removed, and he recommends the new sewer. Is that your intent, to eliminate that septic and tie it to the sewer?
Yes, anything out here that's on septic right now will be connected to sewer.
Okay.
Great.
Any other hands from the board? Seeing none, I'll open up to the general public. Meg, please help if you see someone log on.
I have a John Smith with his hand raised.
Okay, the board recognizes John Smith if he's available. John Smith, I think you're on mute. Your hand's raised. Hello, John? Well, if John comes back before we close the public hearing, I'll allow him to speak. Meg, you see anybody in the audience, to the general public, that has a hand raised?
I'm not seeing anyone else. No.
No, I see that John Smith logged off. So without that, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Nat made the motion, Fritz seconded, roll call, Nat,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Dave Iverson,
Aye.
Cam,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Now on to the merits.
Make a motion to approve the applicant's request with the finding and conditions. The applicant's proposal is in keeping with the general purpose of the bylaw and intent of the bylaw. And whoops, where am I? And that the certificate, that the 3 conditions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Motion's been made by Nat. Is there a second?
Second.
Dave Iverson. So roll call, Nat,
Aye.
Dave Iverson,
Aye.
Fritz,
Aye.
Cam.
Aye.
and
Excuse
chair
me.
Chair votes aye. Thank you very much, Dan. Moving on.
Thank you.
Next, we're looking at Nantucket Realty LLC, 61 Center Street, John Brescher, Lisa Soder representing, and I would like to activate David if you're available.
I'm here, John.
David Callahan, you're activated. Thank you very much. Representation, do we have, I see Mr. Brescher. You have the floor, Mr. Brescher. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Thank you. For the record, Attorney John Brescher, I'm here with the applicant, Lisa Soder. I was actually going to have Lisa start off the presentation, and I was going to fill in sort of the wonkish side of things, if that's all right with everyone.
Absolutely. Lisa, welcome. Welcome. Oh, I think you're on mute. Oh, volume. Is that just me or is it?
Sounds very faint.
How about now?
Still a little muffled.
That's all I have.
Oh,
That does it.
we can hear you.
You can
Yes.
hear me?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for considering our application. On behalf of
Oh, you moved. I'm sorry. I don't know if the general public can hear. It's still muffled. Yeah, if you're closer, that works a little bit.
Okay.
You just have to stay close to the camera.
All right. I'm closer now. Can
That's
you hear me?
perfect. Don't move.
All right, I will move. We're requesting relief for special treatment facility use of a 353 square foot cottage behind the main building at 61 Center Street, namely to lift 2 restrictions in paragraph 5A and 5B of a 1999 zoning board decision that prohibited habitation and rental of that cottage. We believe we have sufficient parking, but have requested, to the extent that you believe it's necessary, relief from the parking restriction. It's on a property that's already a guest rental property, a guest house.
Okay. Did everybody hear that as well? I'm seeing nods. Anything anyone like to comment on before I open it up?
You have John Brescher with his hand raised?
Yes, John.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just from sort of a technical standpoint, this is a little interesting in as much as there was a zoning board of appeals application back in, I want to say 2000, maybe a little bit earlier, for the commercial use back when zoning board of appeals had jurisdiction over these uses. This, and you're saying, well, that's great. Why are we here instead of zoning board? Because this is it would be considered a pre-existing non-conforming use because it is technically in the ROH. Under the definition of transient residential facility, because we are within a quarter mile of the CDT, the planning board would have jurisdiction over this and sort of to call, for lack of a better term, sort of bless the commercial use. So that's what kicks us into the jurisdiction of the planning board, and which would allow the planning board to modify the previous zoning board of appeals decision relative to the sort of the studio in the back of the property. We had discussed this extensively with Megan, I believe Leslie and Andrew, and we all sort of determined this was the proper avenue to go down. But I realize it's a little strange, and that was the sort of the point of clarification that I wanted to make about why we're here.
Okay, thank you, John. Anyone from the board? Well, while you're thinking, I'll open it up to the public hearing. Meg, please let me know or inform us if anybody logs on.
I don't see anyone with their hand raised from the public, but I think I see David Iverson with his hand raised.
David's on mute.
Okay, David Iverson, you're on mute.
So there was no decision precluding this from being used, or I'm just confused about why it hasn't been used before, or why you're coming before us to have it, give the nod on it.
I can clarify that for you,
Oh,
for you,
go ahead,
Mr.
Meg.
Chair, if that's okay. So there was a decision back in I believe in the 90s, from the Zoning Board of Appeals that did place restrictions on the studio. At that time, the Zoning Board of Appeals was the permit granting authority for guest houses. At this time, the Planning Board is now the permit granting authority, so they would be, you all would be the ones who could lift those restrictions on the studio in the rear of the property and combine it with the transient residential use of the front house.
So Meg, if you have those, what were the actual conditions that the zoning or restrictions that they put on, just so that we can see if it's per today's time?
Bear with me just a moment.
I have them here if you want me to read them.
Dave, go ahead, Mr. Vice Chair.
Stop. Structure shall not be used for human inhabitants. Is that, am I in the right place, Meg?
Sounds right.
Structure shall not be used as a guest hat room or rented separately for other uses on the property and used solely by the manager or owner of property. Gutters should be installed. There should be no tub installed in the bathroom, which shall consist of a maximum sink, toilet, and shower. There should be no exterior construction relative to this structure between May 15th and October 15th of any given year. Structure should be built in substantial conformation with certificate of appropriateness as amended Historic District Commission. Yeah, I mean, so I guess my question was why? And I see that the old owner didn't want it to be used as a guest house. Am I reading that right, John?
Yeah, no, well, that was why I asked what were the restrictions, because to learn what the restrictions were back then, if they were relative to today's times, why they did it, and why obviously now we're trying to add a tub or a shower, make it habitable, and either rent out or use.
But I don't think the applicant was asking for it to be used, is my understanding reading this
The
document.
previous zoning board of
Yeah.
appeal approval, right? Well, I guess we're looking at, does anybody see this as being a reasonable request?
This is a housekeeping kind of issue, John. I mean, we used to, like, require certain things in the mid 2000s that we don't now, let alone something like this. You know what I mean? So I had no issue with removing it. I think that if they do any work on it, you know, I don't know, I can't even picture it, to be honest, of what it is. It's not, it can't be very big. So, I don't, like, if this was in, so it's it's sort of like a pre-existing building that, for whatever reason, they put this condition in at the time, and I don't think we can really figure that out exactly why. So I sort of look at it as a new application in a sense. What would we say now? You'd probably have somebody living in it because they got no place to live anywhere. And they don't have a car. They don't want to leave their job.
Well, truth be told, there might be someone living in there, but that's near here. Besides the point, if we're looking at this as technically a new applicant, an application, since we are the governing board now, where before it was the zoning board of appeals. If our board doesn't have an issue with it, looking at the findings that it's intent of the bylaw and the things in the ROH with the parking requirements being waived, obviously, I think it's really up to us to see if we have an issue with it or not. So, Cam, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, I just have a quick question listening to your discussion, which has been very good. I'm just wondering, I think one of the points that you had read, or one of the findings previously made, was that the structure would stay within its current square footage if anything were to be done to it. Am I correct on that?
John, is there any intention to build onto this, add or improve the ground cover? John Brescher?
Mr. Chairman, I don't believe so. I think, and again, if you can sort of picture the site, I don't think there's much more you can do, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind
So
of,
I was thinking to maybe keep that in as a stipulation that the 364 square feet that it currently is what holds over time, perhaps.
Is there any comment from the applicant or John with that request to keep it maintained as the size of the structure that it presently is?
I mean, I think so long as without any further relief from this board, sure. No.
Okay.
It's maintained at that size.
So I don't know if I opened it up to the public yet, but if I didn't, I will. So Meg, if you see anybody from the general public with a raised hand, please inform us.
Not seeing anyone with their hand raised, no.
Okay, with that request, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Dave Iverson and seconded by Fritz. Roll call, Dave?
Aye.
Fritz?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I believe David? Callahan, I think I activated you on this one.
You did. Fine.
Okay, and the chair votes aye. Okay, now on the merits of the applicant or application. Is there a motion?
I would make a motion to approve the amendment of the special permit existing that presently exists, or that was decided by the Zoning Board of Appeals, to allow existing freestanding studio to be converted into a guest suite habitable space as a pre-existing non-conforming guest house in the old historic district. With the three findings that are set forth in the agenda, and one condition that the existing space be restricted to the existing 364 square feet.
Second.
That's your motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion has been made by Fritz and seconded by Dave. Roll call, Fritz?
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
David Callahan,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you very much, John, Lisa.
Thank you all very much. Happy holidays.
Have a good evening. Thank you. All right, next order of business on to public comment. No, hearing none. Other business, 2022 Planning Board meeting schedule. Meg?
So included with your packet was a proposed schedule for 2022. There has been one change to that schedule that was made today. It revolves around the October meeting date. There's a ZBA meeting on that Thursday, so we're going to bump our meeting to October the 17th and then bump the NP and EDC meeting out a week, similar to how we had to handle things this year.
Yeah.
So we don't need do we need a vote on that schedule, or is that just information?
I think we should take a vote on it. We have in years past. I think, we should also stress that there needs to be some flexibility as we navigate how much longer we're going to continue Zoom. Are we going to continue hybrid? Are we going to move back to in-person? Kind of what's yet to be determined and when. So there does need to be some sort of flexibility there. But in terms of notice and things like that for the January meeting is set. So that is happening on the 10th.
Okay. All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2022 Planning Board meeting schedule with the changes for the October meeting to be on the 17th. Is there a motion?
I think it's good. I'll second it.
Well, I just was looking for a first.
Oh, what am I saying? Sorry about that. I'm thinking ahead about it. Yeah.
I'll second it. How's that?
I'll make I was just
second Nat's motion.
I got this 4 o'clock thing in my head. I like it. I know staff likes it. I like it. I've been thinking about it as far as like what's going to happen when we go back live. Are we going to be at 4? Are we going to be 5? Or what are we doing? I don't know. I don't think we should even talk about it right now, I guess. But
so we're going to stick with the original motion.
Yeah.
Matt, and second by Fritz. Roll call, Matt.
Aye.
Fritz.
Aye.
Dave Iverson.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Moving on, the reminder about the planning board fee schedule update is effective with submissions for the January 2022 meeting. And then I guess the next regular planning board meeting is scheduled for Monday, January 10th, 2022, 4 p.m. via Zoom right now.
So that's our next regular meeting. We do have our joint meeting for January 5th for the appointment of the vacant spot that will be advertised and for letters of interest.
When does did the first advertisement already go out for that, Meg, or do you know when that's going to be going? I'm guessing we need at least 2 weeks prior to the meeting.
I think it's 2 weeks. I believe it's being handled by town administration, but I would ask Leslie to clarify that.
I believe Erica sent an ad to the paper.
Yeah, it's in.
Yeah.
So that's at the regular 6 o'clock select board meeting?
5:30.
5:30, sorry. Okay.
Great. And Meg, that is a Zoom as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance. It definitely is a little somber from past meetings. Again, we all miss Judith, and thank you for all the help getting me through this meeting as well. Look forward to seeing everybody in our next meeting in the new year. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I'll
John.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Nat, seconded by Dave. Nat, roll call.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Fritz.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. If we don't see you all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year to all.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
See you all soon.
Good job, John.
Yep, nice job, staff. Great year.
And staff, of course.
Yep. All right, take care.